morning, Cecil County. I'm Grant Handley, your host for today. Welcome to Cecil TV's morning show. Today is Wednesday, December 11th. Let's get to the weather. It's pretty warm today, which is a nice change from a couple weeks ago. Today, expect rain in a high near 64 degrees. It'll be breezy with a south wind going from 11 to 21 miles per hour as it'll drove west in the afternoon. Wind gusts can be as high as 37 miles per hour, and chance of rain today is 100%. So bring your umbrellas and your rain jackets out. New precipitation amounts are between 1 and 2 inches possible, so definitely a good amount of rain today. Tonight, there's a chance of rain before 10 p.m. It'll be cloudy during the early evening, then gradually clearing. It's a low of 31 degrees, blustery with a west wind of 19 to 24 miles per hour, decreasing to 11 to 16 miles per hour after midnight. Winds could gust as high as 44 miles per hour, and chance of precipitation is 40%. Thursday will be sunny with a high near 39, breezy with a west wind up to 20 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 33 miles per hour. Let's move on to some events. We got some exciting holiday cheer coming up in the county. The Chesapeake, Susquehanna, and Western Model Railroad is hosting their 39th annual Christmas open house. This extensive open house railroad layout will thrill and fascinate young and old alike. Days to visit vary, but generally are around the weekends. Check cc.org for times. This Friday, check out Elkton's Downtown Merchants from 5:30 to 7:30 to sample cookies and vote for your favorite at the Christmas Cookie Throwdown. I'll say that again, the Christmas Cookie Throwdown. Don't forget to take a photo with our town Christmas tree. Sounds like a great event, and you should bring your own hot chocolate. I just added that. I don't know if you should actually do that, but I would. Now through Christmas, visit the Cecil County Arts Council Art Mart. Purchase unique handcrafted items perfect for gifts this season. The events showcase works from dozens of area artists. Also explore the 6th annual Wonderland of Reefs. Now to the news. Kind of a really interesting topic. Are beer and wine sales coming to grocery stores near you? During the upcoming legislative session in Maryland, which starts in January and ends around April, a renewed push to expand alcohol sales to grocery stores will have the support of Governor Moore, who says he sees bipartisan support for this statewide. Maryland is among a handful of states that do not allow grocery stores to sell beer and wine. However, critics of this proposal cite the potential damage to communities and the impact over existing liquor stores, most which are small, independently owned establishments. Read more about this at marylandmatters.org, but that will be an interesting story that Cecil TV will track throughout session. Our feature for today, you know him, you love him. He's our roving observer of life in Cecil County, and he's back with us to talk about last evening's county council work session and perhaps other legislative matters. I welcome to the show Executive Director of Cecil Public Media, Doug Donley. Doug, welcome to the show, my friend.
Good morning, Grant, and thanks for having me on.
Doug, as we both know, the administration here, the straight administration and new council are very new, not too many weeks in yet. And yesterday was a pretty interesting work session in terms of a couple things that may have gotten delayed or whatnot. Can you just expand on what you noticed and observed last night?
Well, there were a few items on the agenda for yesterday, one of which was a presentation by Director of Economic Development, Sandra Edwards. She is rather newly appointed. It was supposed to be a presentation on this software that they use, Salesforce, which is, I guess, mainly used to track prospects. This company may, be looking for a place to settle, and it's like sales, trying to sell a company on Cecil County.
Right.
But the questions from the council very quickly led into a discussion of the proposed economic study, for which the administration has asked for $100,000, and which I nothing in particular about that discussion. It just makes me wonder, is there the fact that a study is necessary? A study has not been done since 2013, does it sort of suggest that the department has, you know, it seems like keeping track of the sort of the state of economic development and the prospects and the various conditions that may impact it. That seems to be what the job of the Department of Economic Development is. So the study suggests that somehow they've been lacking somehow. That's just my thought. And $100,000, that's not in the great scheme of things, it's an investment. But I'm wondering, council meetings of the past were regularly attended by extreme fiscal conservatives in the name of the what was their name? The Liberty people.
Campaign for Liberty.
The Campaign for Liberty, of which Jackie Gregory was, I believe, the founder. They would. I'm wondering, are we going to see them again? I mean, they kind of disappeared with when Danielle came to office. Anyway, that was that. Next on the agenda was supposed to be a fund balance update. The finance department representatives asked for a 2-week extension because they want to present audited data, which I guess makes sense. They said that the post-audit data will be far more accurate and allow them to project. Next thing, when they went to council comments, they Dawn Branch sort of, in a sense, withdrew from a couple of committees she had volunteered for, stating that they presented a potential conflict of interest with her day job, which is working for the schools. So, and here's my personal criticism. It was very hard to, if the council people don't speak directly into their microphones, the people in watching these Zoom calls can't hear them. So I don't know what committees Dawn Branch has, I guess, recused herself from because what she said was inaudible. Anyway, and finally, Donna Culberson apparently lost someone who was close to her last week, a young person, 19 years old, from Perryville. That's all I know about that, and that sounds like a tragic event. But she used the occasion to ask for a reconsideration or an end to the divisiveness in the county. And I'm curious to exactly which divisiveness she's referring to. But it was a sort of a heartfelt request on her part. And that's what I have about last night's Cecil County Council work session.
Well, our thoughts certainly go to Councilman Culberson and her family, and I appreciate her having the courage to talk about any sort of tragedy at a public meeting under public comment. And anytime you're talking about this thing's live and there's a hot microphone in front of you and minutes are being taken, it can be a bigger moment than what you anticipate. So thoughts are to her. A couple interesting aspects you'd brought up there, Doug. First, Dawn Branch switching around some committees to ensure she doesn't have a conflict of interest. always appreciate to see that proactivity from her and any councilman. It'll be interesting to see. CCPS played such a large role in the election, whether it was a voter base or candidates or the Apple ballot nominations, things like that. So it will be interesting to make sure that CCPS backed candidates aren't just having the blinders on for a single source issue of CCPS. And it seems like Dawn Branch is going through the appropriate channels to ensure that doesn't happen. But it's early, and it's just something to monitor. And that goes for anything, whether there are council members that are big or used to be big with the Fair Hill Board or a private business and things like that. So it's always good to see the councilmen ensure that they are being proactive and catching any potential conflicts rather than an ethics review having to happen or something crazy like that. But so kudos to Dawn, and hopefully that's a trend we continue to see with all of our candidates, and because it's pretty impossible not to have a conflict of something, whether it's a private business, a nonprofit you really care about, you're on a board about, your day job. So always encouraging to see. What I really want to highlight more than anything, Doug, is the study, the economic development study. $100,000 sounds like a lot of money for sure. When it comes to that type of scope of work and that type of product, from my experience in the government, it's not a crazy price tag by any means, and the scope is pretty large given it's the county. But what I do want to know is, you had talked about with me off camera, it was 2013 that the last time a study had occurred, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So
that's what they said last week as they introduced this.
Okay.
Idea.
So I'm just curious, did the 2013 study kind of serve as a comprehensive plan where they kind of knew where they needed to go for the next decade? And now that it has been 10 years, they need to do another one, and it provides another long-term plan? Or is the study serve as more of a 1 to 2 year plan? And for some reason, the department has kind of picked and choose when they want to do a study or not. I would love to learn more about it, and what is it going to yield versus what are already the responsibilities of the department as a whole? Because are they intersecting? Are they double dipping? Is the study doing things EDC should have already been doing? Has EDC maybe not been able to meet their internal deadlines and the studies to play catch up? Or is the study more of a master blueprint and it's simply time to do another blueprint? Because comprehensive plans are critical to any township, any county government, any state government. It's like a strategic plan. So if this serves the role as a strategic plan, then $100,000 is money well spent. But I am curious to see what role has the study played in the past, and why is it time to do another one now? So something to kind of monitor closely, and
right. How did they use did they use the 2013 information? How did it guide anything? And I believe they've referred, I believe it was said this is to create a 5-year plan. I'd be interested to know, I mean, I guess they're going to hire consultants or whatever, professional people to do this study. I'd be curious, since economic development is has a it's kind of got a benign sound to it as a subject for the average person, but do they need should there be some input from the public? Because whether we go with warehouses or we go with biotechnology, which is only not there is represented in the county, but nothing like warehouses, or should we looking for more small business? I don't know, but I think there should be input from what people think of or imagine economic development to be. Some people would tell you we don't need any economic development. Let's just draw a line right now and say no more.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope there's a public input portion. Right now, for example, this state highway administration and other local partners, the county and other townships are looking at the Route 272 corridor study.
Yes.
If you ever driven through 272 town and northeast, that Amtrak bridge, it bottlenecks, it's unpleasant. Driving through town on the weekend is pretty much impossible. And with new schools coming and perhaps some housing development coming, it's only going to get worse. And I bring this up because they're hoping to change the traffic and change the navigation of that area, hopefully in a really substantial way that can alleviate traffic. But public input has been a huge part of that. So I'd imagine with the EDC survey, public input also needs to be a factor that they consider. And I understand the average citizen is not an expert in, what brings prosperous business and what brings better jobs and all those things. But still, the basic idea of a citizen wanting to see some things and not wanting to see another should be factored into the ultimate decision-making process.
Right. Sandra Edwards, in the course of her presentation, referred to the fact that the forecast economically for Maryland is somewhat dismal because there's a couple of factors. One, the blueprint is tremendously expensive. I think we referred anyway. The state school superintendents association has said that they would like to work with the state administration, to sort of basically bring down the cost of the blueprint, sort of cooperate. But there's also there was another study, or I forget which group, but in the context of this sort of dismal forecast of state budgeting, some people are saying that the answer is transportation. That's Maryland is lacking in transportation, and so transportation is as much roads as it is public transportation, and
Well, Maryland is certainly lacking in transportation, and it's lacking in public housing, and it's lacking in a lot of basic infrastructure needs. And Governor Wes Moore has made a very aggressive push to try to make those investments. The issue now is the state is in a deficit that hasn't seen in quite some time. So it's how do you balance those things? Governor Moore argues sometimes you got to spend money to make money, and sometimes you got to put yourself in these deficits to get done what's been needing to be done and neglected. And then the other side of the coin, it's required, the state legislature has to have a balanced budget by the end of session. So how is that going to happen without dramatic cuts or tax increases? And I understand the perspectives either way. It'll be interesting to watch and monitor, but it's just kind of a bigger it's a microcosm of what's happening. Cecil County is a microcosm of what's happening in the state, and it'll be interesting to see how this study goes.
If not the country, because the another factor is there's a huge drain of hundreds of thousands of people have left the cities of people are leaving cities such as the West Coast cities, Chicago, New York, and moving to down south to red states, which is if it's a trend that and they're doing it because there's no housing. They can't afford. They can no longer. People are I know my entire set of in-laws are all contemplating leaving Long Island, New York,
Right.
because you can't afford to live there anymore between just the cost of housing, taxes, etc. They're looking at South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, etc. And that's got to have long range, profound impacts on elections and electoral college and all kinds of stuff. So we are a
Well, Doug,
country in flux.
certainly. That is certainly true, Doug. Thank you for coming on and talking. We'll always continue to monitor what the council's up to, and we enjoy our relationship with the council and CC Gov. So we're
Sure.
always happy to cover and give our thoughts on it. Folks,
Okay.
thanks for watching Cecil TV. If you think programs like this are valuable, please consider becoming a donor to Cecil Public Media. And remember that through the end of the year, your donations are matched, 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 free money matched by Newsmatch. So if you donate to Cecil TV, it's like a BOGO. The donation gets matched. That's pretty cool. Just go to cecil.tv and click donate. I also want to plug on Monday, this upcoming Monday, I'll sit down with State Delegate Kevin Hornberger in studio, and we'll talk about the legislative session coming up. So a lot of interesting things there to deep dive into, and we're excited to have Delegate Hornberger on. So check me out on Monday. I guess you'll probably see it Tuesday, but it's happening. So it's exciting stuff. Anyway, I'm Grant Handley. Thank you for watching the Cecil TV show. You can see us and check us out tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a great day.